Hey everybody, welcome to the 2 a.m. pipe on the patio. Coming to you from the onion patch. Today, smoking my Rossi 626. And if you've been following me, you know what that means. It means Condor. Yeah, I've been saving up the little bit of Condor I have, and I couldn't hold out any longer. I told Uncle Phil over at Uncle Phil's cellar that I was going to do a video and talk about soap and Grannies Knickers, and he said he was going to do if he heard one more person talk about soap and Grannies Knickers, that he was going to do a rant video, so I told him I was going to do a video. I'm in love with Condor. I just love this stuff. I love the botanicals, as Phil calls them, which other people call soap and Granny's Knickers. I love that. I just love that. I love listening to Uncle Phil. So I was going to just tell a little story today about back in 2001. As most of you know, as a lot of you know, I'm a musician, not a famous musician at all. Never made a living at it. But I got hired to do a session one time by a guy named Chris Murphy. I didn't know Chris Murphy from Adam. He called me up one day and he says, this guy was like wired, man. This guy was totally wired, and I'm, what you see is what you get with me. I'm like laid back, easy going. Chris calls me up, Johnny, I'm blah, 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 and he's like totally just over the top wired up. Want you to come play slide on a song. I'm looking for a slide guitar player. I need you to come play slide on this song. He's just all wired up, just. I'm thinking this guy's like just on something, you know. So I get the address where he wants me to come to play. I had no idea who this guy was. He got my name from somebody. Up at the guitar shop. So the studio is on the Indian reservation, and it's called NFE Studios. No effing excuses was the name of the studio. So I'm a little nervous because I didn't know this guy. I had no idea who he was. He was a little amped up when he called, and so I'm packing my gear. And not knowing what he needed from me, you know, I don't know if he's wanting, you know, humbucker sound, single coil sound, acoustic guitar, you know what, I don't know what he's looking for. He didn't give me any kind of parameters of what he was looking for. He just wanted me to play slide. So I'm bringing my 1963 Stratocaster, my 1994 Paul Reed Smith, my 1983 Moe's acoustic guitar, my Go guitar acoustic, and my Mesa Boogie Mark II C+. So I got, at that time in 2001, I had in excess of 15 grand in gear that I'm taking to this place on the Indian reservation. So I'm nervous, so I'm packing my 9mm. and a knife, because I don't know what I'm running into. I don't know what I'm walking into here. So I follow his directions. I get to the reservation. I follow directions up to the studio, and the studio is next to his house. So he tells me to come to his house and knock on the door when I get there. So I walk up to his house, I knock on the door. He opens the door. Two biggest pit bulls I've ever seen in my life answer the door with him. And he tells me, oh, don't worry about them. They're friendly. Okay. He has me come in. I walk in the door. He brings me into the kitchen. On the kitchen, there is on the kitchen table, there's a fruit bowl about 10 inches deep, probably 14 inches wide, full, mounded just mounded over with joints. I mean, just a musician's dream. And he says, help yourself, buddy. And I did not smoke, and so I said, man, I don't smoke marijuana. He says, oh, no problem, man, no problem. So I look around the kitchen. He's got one, he's lit up already. I look around the kitchen counter, and all over the counter there had to be 50 half-smoked joints all over the countertop. I'm thinking, what am I walking into here? So he takes me into the studio, introduces me to the engineer. And he says, okay, you can bring your gear in through the side door here. Bring it in. He'll let you hear the song, and you just play whatever you feel you want to play. And I'm like, do you want electric? Do you want acoustic? He goes, play whatever you want. So I said, okay. So I listened to the song, and I thought, well, I'm going to play the Paul Reed Smith on this one. I get a good scream and slide sound on it. Lay down the solo. Play through, fills through the song. Lay down the solo. Engineer says, man, that sounds great. You good with that? And I said, well, let me try one more run through. I think I can do a little better. So we do one more time. Get done. He calls Chris in. Chris listens to it. Dude breaks down, starts crying. He's like, man, you've changed the entire feel of the whole record. And dude's literally crying. And I want you to play on another one. We're doing Angel of Montgomery. I want you to play on that one too. So I switched to my Strat, and I played slide on Angel of Montgomery. I did 2 takes on that. And they wound up using both of those takes on that cut, which was pretty cool. It sounded really cool when it was finished. And then he had me come back and do 2 more songs after that on another day. This guy was just the most amazing artist I've ever seen in my life. Chris was. He had these paintings and drawings in his house. I wish I had asked him to pay me in one of his art pieces of artwork rather than money. His artwork was incredible. And they were massive. These just massive. And he would do like pencil drawings on these 12 foot by 12 foot canvas things, and he would do pencil drawings, these tiny little pencil drawing, and you'd look at them and there would be 1,000 different drawings on these things, and you'd look at it from far away and it would be one big picture. You'd get up close and there'd be 1,000 pictures inside of it, and it was just amazing. The guy was just amazing. But so I went back. When he had me do a song, he had certain parts he wanted me to play on slide on this other song. So I did those parts for him. And then he asked if I knew Highway 61 that Johnny Winter and Bob Dylan tune that Johnny Winter had done. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I want to do an acoustic version of that. So we started jamming, just going over it. Well, they rolled tape while we were just kind of rehearsing it, and it went on for about, I think it was like 16 minutes, and we just kept doing it for like 16 minutes, and then he said, we're keeping that, we're using that, and so I went back and put acoustic slide over that. It came out awesome. It came out really awesome, but they didn't use that on the record. They wound up using the vocals, and then they did like an electronic music track with it, and it was totally different. But I had them make copies of everything. When we were finished recording, they would do like a demo copy for me of everything, so I have that copy, that version of that 16-minute version of, and it's awesome. I'm glad I got it. But Chris passed away not long after finishing that recording. He was in bed, and he had a really bad asthma attack and died. And he was getting ready to go out on the road in support of the album, and passed away. And the album was called Electric Soul Pimps, and I think there's 4 of them available on Amazon used right now, from $18 to $35 or something like that. But that was a funny time, and man, I was so nervous. God, I was so nervous doing that. I didn't know what I was walking into, and the guy was just so amped. It was always, I mean, that's just the way he was, man. He was just an amped up dude. He had some top notch. He had Bill Ray on drums, who played with Ike Turner, and Paul Kugel on keyboards. Got some top-notch musicians playing on that album. Yeah. And they all talk about that album. Talk about that session when I talk to them. They all mention that session. We get together and we talk about it. We all talk about what an amazing artist he was. Guy could sing. He had an incredible voice. But was gone too soon, man. Gone too soon. Interesting times. Interesting times. Guy was a fun guy to work with, though. He really was. So anyway, just wanted to share that story with you. It was just an odd. It was only sessions I ever did. All the rest of the recording I did were with my bands and stuff like that. The only time anybody hired me to play on their record. So that would be nerve-wracking doing that. But usually they have, they kind of have like what they're looking for. They want you to sound like somebody, or they have some kind of parameters they're looking for you to sound like or do. He was just play whatever you want. It's like, okay. It was fun though. Good times. It's a memory I'll never forget. It's something that I'll never forget doing it. So it was worth it. And he paid well. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good day. Condor. Love it. Soap and Grannies and Knickers.